These dogs are crazy.
Hi, you guys.
Hi, how are ya?
It's always something.
Yep.
Too many moving parts and too many bladders filling and initial
Yep.
cycles.
Were you reading all those books?
I wish I could read them, sir. The reason they're in such nice order is because I never. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, welcome back. Have you guys been catching any Royals games?
No, unfortunately.
You know why I say that, right?
I don't.
Your picture is of you at a Royals game.
Oh, yeah. No, I actually haven't. My friend just got traded from the Royals to the Diamondbacks, so I'm a little bummed because I wanted to see him play as a Royal, but his name is Nick Heath.
Yeah, and I went to school with Jacob Junis, the pitcher.
I heard they've been doing pretty good. Let's talk about things. You ready?
All right.
Okay, egg number is great.
Perfect.
You've got a lot of eggs.
Love to hear that.
And that's great news. Don't know anything about the quality of the eggs. That's a bit of an unknown, especially for someone in your case. I mean, we would anticipate having high quality eggs at 27, but you do begin to wonder if that's a part of what's going on, given the treatment cycles you did with Dr.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we have. We have 3 to 4 letrozole timed intercourse cycles with Dr. and 3 IUI cycles with Dr. That's
Correct.
what I have done. That's how right?
Correct, yeah.
So 6 to 7 total treatment cycles,
Right.
3 of which with sperm insemination.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just have to ask yourself, I know you're like, well, duh, but why don't you have a baby right now? And I have some ideas and answers in that regard, but until I got a baby for you, I'm on the lookout for what that might be in an effort to head that off and make this process successful for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I mean, I'm always thinking, and that's frankly what you pay me to do. How do I spend my days thinking about how I can get you guys paid. All right, your thyroid looked good. Your vitamin D was a little low. Get some sun out there and get on some supplements. Enough said about that.
Yep.
We did a number of quote-unquote PCOS labs. They're all normal except your testosterone's a little bit high. There's nothing to do. That just means you have PCOS.
Yep.
Okay, I mean, when I say there's nothing to do, we don't put you on a medicine for that or anything like that. That's just really a manifestation, if you will, of having PCOS. You guys know this already. Brittany, you're an intermediate Fragile X carrier. As I'm sure you're aware, there's never been a case where Brittany, the mom, and Jordan had a baby, and Brittany was an intermediate Fragile X carrier, and they had a baby with Fragile X. Does that make sense?
Right.
You're still one level above the danger zone, if you will. And your offspring, your family, they may be there for 1,000 years. I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but I don't think we know what causes these trinucleotide repeat sequences to expand in some people and in other people's families to stay static. Does that make sense? But I don't think there's a lot to worry about from the Fragile X perspective. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
And I don't know if you chatted with...
We did, yeah. We did last week.
Did she jive? Did what I say jive with what she said, or did I just say a bunch of wrong stuff?
No, it sounds right.
It's super common. It's probably one of the top 2 or 3 things we see on these, that potentially impactful. Fragile X people, meaning people that are either pre-mutations, which is not you, an intermediate mutation, cystic fibrosis, spinal muscular atrophy. Those are the 3 most common. Okay, good. I just want to make sure if she's telling you something completely different, I need to know, do you need to be worried about this? And my answer is probably not. You probably need to be more worried about, if you're going to be in a car accident today.
So I wanted to ask you, she was saying something about testing.
I think the PGT test, is
PGT, and then there was another one that she recommended that there was both. But she said that it could decrease the amount of eggs, usable eggs. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know if I'm relaying it correctly.
I do. I think I do, sir.
So I want your thoughts on that.
I'm actually going to pull this console and look at exactly what she said. So we're definitely a fan of genetic testing of the embryos.
Yeah, so are we, and I kind of want to do, there's an option to do one, and then there's an option to do another one there's 2 of them.
I think it's PGTA and PGTM, I think is what she
Nailed
said.
it, girl.
Yeah, see, there you go. Those tests that she has, I really wanted to do both the M, I think it was the more sophisticated one. But she said that it could mean that we have less viable eggs. So I wanted your opinion on, is that something you've ever seen be a negative factor?
Never in an intermediate carrier. Miss Bristow, I'm going to just read what she said. Fragile X results, she has 31 on one and 54 on the second. With intermediate alleles are not, all caps, at risk to have children with Fragile X syndrome because their repeats have never been shown to expand beyond the 200 repeat sequences, which is, hey, that is exactly what I told. However, their children and grandchildren may be at risk to have larger repeats. That's the expansion through generations, and at risk to have children with Fragile X. You can do genetic testing of the embryos for chromosome number. That's PGTA.
Right.
That we're doing, basically. That's off the table. We would strongly recommend it. You guys want to do it. Enough said. PGTM is monogenic diseases. So that would be like, as an example that's a little easier to understand, would be like, let's say, Brittany, you're a carrier for cystic fibrosis, and sir, you are a carrier for cystic fibrosis. That means you have a 1 in 4 chance, a 25% chance of having a baby with cystic fibrosis. Not a carrier, the disease. Because in that scenario, your baby got the abnormal gene from the lady and the abnormal gene from the gentleman. So we do that all the time. The reason why nobody has done this is because there's never been a case. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I could have swore she said that there was something else for PGTM because I didn't get tested for anything.
She said Down syndrome because Down syndrome is random. So
Down syndrome will be tested for by PGTA.
Okay. See, I don't remember what she told me then. She said something about M.
She's talking about Fragile X ataxia, but I'm pretty sure Brittany's a female, so we don't have that thing to worry about.
Yeah.
So, she's right. We could determine which genes are intermediate for gray zone mutations, like Brittany, and then ones that are normal, and put the normals back. That's an option. I've never done that either, but that would be possible.
Okay.
I will kind of warn you, it can cost $5,000.
Yeah, but that could be worth it.
Fair, sir. Yeah. And it take a couple months. I'm willing to do it. You know, because what if you got, most people just don't want to spend the money. Let's say we got 4 embryos. And let's say 3 of them were negative. And one was an intermediate, like Brittany. You might say, I want to put the other 3 back first. But I wouldn't be afraid to transfer the embryo that is like Brittany, because Brittany's pretty great.
Right, I see what you're saying, because the one that's like Brittany is still intermediate, which still that her kid or his kid would still not be at risk, or they would not be at risk. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I've always, and hey guys, I can't I'll do what you tell. I mean, you make the call. Does that make? I'll do what we can explore this as much as you want. I've always taken the view that our children and children's children are going to have a lot more science and technology available to them. Who knows? It may be much easier to deal with at that time than it is today. Now, maybe that's sticking my head in the sand. But my goal, honestly, is to get you guys a healthy baby.
Right.
Sort of saying I'm going to get you a healthy grandbaby, that's asking too much of a little doctor. If we can do screening to assess how many of these repeat sequences, which is the issue at hand, each of these embryos have.
Yeah.
And you just frankly need to decide. You need to know, do you want to know that information? Because once you know it, you know it.
I don't even think it was for me. I think I had no concern about Fragile X. It was something else that she mentioned that when I heard it, I was like, I want to test. And I just can't remember exactly what, but...
Well, Brittany doesn't have either of those. I mean, she's not premature ovarian failure. She has, 8 times the normal X. She's the opposite direction. And again, I'm just not trying to convince you one way or the other. I'm just trying to give you the facts. You know, whether or not you do genetic testing of the embryos for Fragile X, it doesn't really impact us one way or the other. That's a process of working with the genetic testing company and getting it all together, but we're happy to do that. I think most people, frankly, would consider it to be overkill. But that's kind of funny, because usually I'm trying to get people to do this kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean it's not correct for you guys. It's your family. It's your life.
Yeah. I just don't know any of my actual father side at all. So I don't know if we have heart problems, anything.
I don't know if this weighs at all. I wouldn't test.
Okay.
Not an intermediate mutation. This was pregnancy has 31 with intermediate alleles. Yeah, no, I'm just making sure I'm reading this. Are not at risk to have children with fragile X. Yeah, I'm reading it correctly. You know, we certainly could entertain that for you guys. Just let us know. Okay. It's just, you have to kind of balance this idea that, yes, we want healthy babies. And yes, we would like super healthy babies, meaning maybe babies that aren't even intermediate cares like Brittany. But we also want a baby, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, we want success. So, bottom line, I think that's just something for you guys to decide. Okay. But I wouldn't say no. I would just say that you're really being proactive in terms of, you know, your desire to have not only healthy children, but more like healthy great grandchildren, if that makes sense. And who's to say? I certainly am not saying that's bad. I think that's great. Most people, I guess, maybe they're a little more selfish. That sounded bad, but they're just more worried about maybe the next 50 years. You're talking 50 years, 100 years, 150 years. But that's important. Sperm look good, so enough said about that. Guys, what other questions can I answer for you? I think we probably should, at some point in the next week or two, or I don't know but we need you to decide if you're doing testing for the fragile eggs. Because that messes with the timeline. Timeline's going to get pushed back which is fine. I always tell people, I'm 46, I got 19 years, and we need to get that going. Or if you're not going to do genetic testing for fragile eggs, which is fine. In fact, I'm so not worried about it. I don't even make you guys sign a waiver for it, like, because it's never happened. Now I know you're going to say, well, it could happen. Sure, things could fly. That could happen too. They can hold the World Ice Skating Championships in hell. But, you know, it's just probably not going to happen. But let us know what you want to do on that Fragile X piece. Okay. We will email you that. I just want you to have a copy of the consult so you can reread. Just maybe it'll jog a memory, or it's probably just good to have. And, you know, we're ready to roll, guys.
So if we decided to not do that testing, what would the timeline look like for us?
Well, so do you have a schedule of our...
Yeah, so we picked the early August, which just by reading the email, it looks like it said that injections would start like August 1st, and then I'd have to... So is that, I mean, if we chose early August, like what is in the email is like kind of what would happen. We'd start in August 1, and then I'd have to come in a couple times.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what day you pick. I mean, you know, Christina knows, but so the meds are about 10 days. Okay. So you got about 2 weeks of meds and retrieval. Prior to that, you've got, and these all 2 or 3 weeks of birth control pills. Other than that, that's it. Let me tell you what happens behind the scenes. Everybody sort of, I think we need to do a better job here. I mean, once you say go and you pick a date, and it sounds like you're scheduled in August and you already kind of have, it's just now we're doing protocols late June. But we'll get you a protocol. You'll have a calendar down to the day, man.
Okay. I'm getting anxious.
Well, sure. Well, if you tell me, if you make a call, I'll get you a calendar. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to pressure you, ma'am.
Sure. No, I understand.
I don't want to. I mean, when you tell me what you're going to do, and I'll get you your calendar, and we'll get it to you early. How's that sound? Really
good.
Early.
Yeah. I'm anxious, but I'm excited. Let me clarify.
Well, I love to hear that. I think that's just what we want to hear, and we want you to be excited too.
Yeah. How is the I was curious with the egg retrieval. Just from reading the email, it said that it could either be like, I believe, a Thursday, a Friday, or Saturday. It could be one. Or okay. How is like the recovery?
Well, in you, it's going to be more significant because we anticipate more eggs, which is a good thing. Okay. But, you know, let's say you have it on Wednesday, you probably will need to rest Thursday, Friday. Okay. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not nothing. I think we can kind of live in this world where people think that, they, have their egg retrieval at 8 and, at 10 o'clock they want to go have breakfast, and at noon they want to go to Urban Air and jump on the trampoline, and at 1 o'clock they want to go to Starbucks. Well, you're going to be sore for a couple days, okay? You're going to need to chill out and watch some Netflix.
Okay.
Do not plan to go to work. If you have it on Wednesday, do you work weekends, Brittany?
I do not.
Yeah, so, could you go back to, I'd probably, honestly, if it was my wife and she had your AMH and you had it on Wednesday, I'd take Thursday, Friday off and plan to go back on Monday.
Okay.
If it was on Thursday, I'd take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off and plan to, I think either way, now, you can answer emails, you can do Zoom calls, but I wouldn't plan a busy, crazy day.
Okay.
What people end up doing is then they don't take pain medicine, then they have a lot of pain. Well, ma'am, when was your last pain pill? Well, 40 hours ago. Well, ma'am, you're basically on no pain medicine for 40 hours. I mean, I just stabbed your ovary with needles. I mean,
right.
We know you're tough, ma'am, but let's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. Absolutely. I just didn't.
Someone like you who gets a bunch of eggs. It hurts, depending on the situation and how many eggs. So be ready. You can't get constipated and plan to take a few pain meds. You take pain pills for 2 days. I either got people wanting to grind it up and snort it, or they won't take it at all. You know what I mean? It's like there's a middle ground where, like, I got my people like, I won't take pain pills because I'm going to get addicted. You're not going to get addicted from 3 vitamins. And then you got your people who are, putting it in their Slurpee. So I'm joking. Those two things are made up. But there's a middle ground.
Right.
We're going to have another meeting too.
I think that's
get into the nuts and bolts of IVF. But I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Have you watched the video, ma'am? Are you aware of that? Have we given you our information?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Okay, you got a pen handy? You're gonna love this, Brittany. I'm not kidding. Or you can put it in your phone. So you're gonna go to. I think you'll appreciate this, and it'll be useful. So you got our webpage up, right? You can see that. Is that right? Hopefully that's right. So you just go to patient resources.
Okay.
And then presentations. And see, there's a password. See the lock, the password?
Right.
So type in all lowercase, no spaces. And then, see where it says IVF 101? See, it's the same password, okay?
Okay.
And this video is very, very instructional.
Okay.
It's actually 2 hours long.
Wow.
So
okay.
I think that you're an information consumer.
I am.
And I think this is us. This is not something we bought. We made this.
Okay.
So this is our lead embryologist and our lead IVF nurse, and I think you'll get a kick out of that. Not more than a kick. I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
And it's 2 hours, but it's on video. You can watch it for 20 minutes and watch it the next day.
Sure.
You can watch it by yourself, and your husband can watch it. You know what I mean? We went to the video because of COVID. We used to have a class. Well, we made a video. Still like the class better.
Sure.
But we still have enough patients from out of town too. We got people from far away, and the video is great for them. Or some people work nights or days, or they can't get here. So check that out.
Okay, thank you.
Guys? You're welcome.
Do you have any questions?
I'm good.
All right.
All right, guys. So hang out. We'll just let us know though. I'm gonna wait for an email from you, Brittany, telling us what you want to do.
Okay.
Please. I mean, it's not set in stone. If you tell me and then 2 weeks later you change your mind, that's fine. I mean, it's not the end of the world.
Okay.
But try to make a final decision about what you want to do. Cool?
All right, I appreciate it.
Guys, our pleasure. Sorry we're late. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Boom, 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 boom. Make sure my hair be looking cute. Everybody.
Hello?
Yes.